Hey everybody, welcome to Mass Media Galaxy. I'm Eric.
I'm Brandon, and we just saw
The BFG. Directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Mark Rylance and Ruby Barnhill. This is an adaptation of a classic children's novel from someone who I cannot remember. Who is
Roald
that?
Dahl, man.
That's it. A book I never read, so I have no context going in. I was not hyped up by the advertisement, but I ended up getting more than what I expected. What do you think?
Oh, I liked it a lot. I have read the book. I'm a big Roald Dahl fan. I've been dying for a Witches remake forever. But yeah, I've read the book when I was a kid. It's literally been like 20 years since I read the book, so to be quite honest, I don't remember much about it. A couple little scenes here and there. I do remember the book being a lot darker, a little bit more scarier, but all Roald Dahl's books were kind of like that. They weren't just, they were kid tales, but they were kind of like old school German, 1,000-year-old kid tales, so they had that little bit of scare with it. But the movie itself I thought was really good. It was a little slow moving.
Yeah.
It had some pretty long, kind of drawn out, boring parts to it. Visually, incredible. This has definitely got the Spielberg stamp right on the
Yep.
top of it. A lot of his like classic shot run-throughs, the coming up from that low angle on buildings and things like that, the stuff that you expect from like one of the best directors of all time. And the story was very, super family friendly, super heartwarming. I can tell you if I was 10 standing here right now, I would have been all over that movie and I would have just been dragging my mom back to the theater. Like, just one more time, Mom, just one more time. But as an adult without children, there were many parts of this movie where I was like, oh, all right, well, let's get going, let's get this going, let's
Yeah.
get this going. So I don't know if you felt that way, but
Yeah, I felt the same way. What I thought this movie was like basically Spielberg's version of My Neighbor Totoro. Have you ever seen that?
no, I haven't.
It's a classic Miyazaki film. If anime fans, if you've ever seen that, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about. Where it's very much more about the characters' interactions and them building a connection between each other, between the girl and Sophie and the BFG, the Big Friendly Giant. There's a huge connection between them. It's very quick. What I was impressed by this movie was that it goes straight into their friendship. It sets itself up very quickly, gives you context on what this girl is like, by purely visuals very quickly, and it goes straight into the story between her and the giant, and they start building up a friendship very quickly, and it's all about the connection between them, and I think they are able to find common ground between them, because they both have other people relying upon them and are reliant on them. And I think they're able to find common, build a relationship and a friendship because of that is able to flourish. But like you said, it's very slow paced. Towards the middle third of the movie, it starts to meander quite a bit, and the whole character building and character connection starts to become a little bit redundant. But then it gets to the latter third of the movie, and it's a little bit contrived. The climax is a little bit forced, but it's not too distracting. What do you think?
Yeah, well, that's when it really ramped up, and they finally hit that third act. And to be quite honest, when you're reintroduced to people again in the story, and you're not just with Sophie and the giant, that's when it picks up a little bit more. I think that's what was lacking for the movie, is it didn't go in and out of that enough. Like, you're right, it zooms right into the story, gets you right into giant land, giant world, whatever it is, and then you spend all this time with just the two characters and then the other giants, and that's kind of what gets boring, is that you're right, it's just kind of repetitive over and over. Then we get to the third act, then more stuff starts happening. You're introduced to the Queen of England and all of her compatriots, and it's like, all right, it's a little funnier now, a little more lighthearted. You needed to put that humanity back into the movie to get it going again. But I mean, like, as far as the character story goes, like, it's great. There's a reason that this book was so good, and I think the problem with the movie is you're just, instead of rearranging it even more to kind of make it a little bit more exciting or pull on your heartstrings a little bit more, they kind of by taking the darker parts of the book out, you kind of left with just this, it's fun, but it's just, everything is kind of happy. Everything is just on this level. You don't go through the emotional highs and lows. I
Yeah.
think I felt more emotion when the Disney logo started popping up than I did through the whole rest of the movie, because you hear that old Disney music and you just remember your entire childhood. It just
Yeah.
flashes before your eyes. So, but I mean, I'd like to be honest. I'd recommend the movie. If you have kids, they might like this movie. I had a discussion in the car with people who have children, and they say that these kind of Disney movies are actually totally boring for their kids. And if it isn't like Disney Infinity or Star Wars or
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's not real fun and fast moving. So this is a totally tough movie for me to recommend. Like, I'm not really sure how I would recommend it. I think you should go to the theater and see it if you want to see how. I mean, this movie is beautiful. It's probably one of the best looking movies we've seen all year.
Yeah, it's very well shot.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, overall, there's not many negative things I can say about it, except for it is a little boring and it is a little slow. But if you like characters, if you like Mark Rylance as the BFG, his motion capture performance is incredible. The little girl, she's all like sassy and plucky. She'll be a great Lois Lane in like 18 or 20 years when we have to reboot Superman again. And make it worth watching again. So, that's what I think of the movie. But I if you have kids, I'd recommend taking them. It'll probably be a decent VOD movie to kind of click on in the background when all the kids come over for a sleepover or something like that. But that's as far as I go as recommending it. What do you think?
Same as you said, I recommend it. If you have kids, definitely go take them on to see it in the theater. They might get bored by it if they're a little bit older, a little bit more mature, then I think they will enjoy this a little bit more. But if they are younger, much younger, they might get bored by this, because I do think the movie is a little bit too long. You could easily shave about a good 20 minutes off of this, and I think it would have been a little bit better, a little bit stronger, and you wouldn't have that sort of repetitive, redundant moments that I was talking about earlier, because all the scenes in this movie are well done. There's no really...
They're Spielberg scenes.
There's no particular scene. There's no particular scene that's bad. They're all well done. It's just that it just kind of drags along a little bit at parts. So yeah, I recommend it. See it in the theater if you're into it. But if your kids are too young, do a VOD.
Yeah, there's not enough flashy lights and stuff like that in this movie to keep like a 6 to 9, maybe 10-year-old. Going for it.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. They got to be old enough to understand the characters that they're watching for sure. So awesome. All right. Well, the BFG. Hope you go see it. Thank you again for watching Mass Media Galaxy. I'm Brandon.
I'm Eric.
And remember to follow us on Twitter. Thumbs up this video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel. Comment below. We love all that stuff. And we'll see you for our next review.